They say that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. But what if your step is more of a stumble, and your journey somewhere in between adventure and meaningless wandering? Sometimes I just sit pondering, wondering if my journey really is a journey at all. Because sometimes I feel that I fell onto my road through a portal in time and space and culture and race, and nothing quite makes sense or follows a pattern like our English teachers say in books. Each step has a meaning, and here I am rereading my story to see if I can find the fascinating fallout of a fable, a moral, a symbol, a meaning at the end, all written out in black and white with underlines and maybe even a quotation. But all I see is the alliteration of words strung together by a cable of emotion without the devotion of memory to remind me where I come from. It's funny how I remember more in feelings than in words. How I can taste the wind on my face, but I can't quite explain the fragile feeling of freedom I inhale as it fills my lungs. But bear with me in my rambling, fumbling words that pour out on a keyboard with little respect for grammar or for form. Let them conform, reform, deform, until they are all the same. But where's the fun when we're all so sane, unable to step outside the lines of our little box life, with blankets over our internal strife, like ghosts of an emotion that might have been? I don't believe in boxes filled with white and black. There was a time when I did, of course. But then I realized that even the deepest black can't hide the cracks, and even the purest of whites won't keep you sane forever. But I used to paint my face and put on latex gloves so that I wouldn't have to see the pain or touch the reality of life around me. Silly me, to think that I could push the world away, keep it at arm's length until I was ready. I'll tell you a secret. Life has never been content to sit and wait and wonder if you're ready for the adventure. Instead, she drinks to quench her thirst and spits all that water back on you just to prove that she can. But it's okay, you see. Reality isn't as scary as we make it out to be in fairy tales meant for little girls with big eyes and tender hearts who tear apart the covers of their dreams when they become old enough to see that they will never be Cinderella, and no one is waiting for them with a glass slipper and a promise. But to be perfectly frank, Cinderella never really was much fun. Of course, she had the beauty and the smile, but after a while that all fades away, because when all is said and done, was she really much older inside than those girls reading her story with glistening eyes? And there's a part of me that can still see the world with moonbeams for a pupil and the galaxy for an iris, full of black and gold specks of stardust that reflect ideals or utopian dreams into the hopeful neurons of my retina. Yet in a moment, I can change from wide-eyed wanderer to hardened wanderer, seeing the world through dusky contacts jaded by flecks of pain from the past. And sometimes I ask myself, which one is truly me? Or am I just a hologram of a dream of a person I once wanted to be, who was lost at sea in between the waves of destiny and choice? Give me back my voice. Because without it, how can I hope to speak out against the pain, against the pounding of the rain that falls from selfishness, pride? If I open my mouth wide, will I be able to shout? Will just a whisper come out? Just like the best of stories, our lives set forth their crumpled pages, and as I trace my finger down the seam of this reality I call my own adventure, I feel the pages break and fall together, bind themselves with leather into the chapters I never knew existed before. Before what? Before I knew where I am right now. I flip the pages frantically, carefully. Do I dare to see what lies within a book where the main character is me, with all my flaws, secrets on display? What if I say something wrong? But I suppose we all do things we shouldn't, for without that viewpoint, what will be the end point of grace? And as I feel the sweetness of that word, Deep within my heart, suddenly I see the pages part in a chapter titled Grace, like a beautiful embrace of a memory from the past, for that was the last path I walked. A path of healing from pain, learning to start anew, learning that mistakes are not the end. And sometimes we have to spend 9 months discovering something hidden deep inside us, what it means to love and to be loved. Wounds of past mistakes, embedded deep beneath the tissue of conscious thought, reopened and retended by the hand of a surgeon whose silence can part the ocean, whose fingertip can tip the very earth from its axis. That hand restitched the pieces of my heart. Isaiah 41, Matthew 11, Psalm 107 were the sutures that helped my tired soul to heal and feel again. But the funny thing about scars is that after the healing, after the wounds have been sewn, after denial has been denied access to your past, after the pain has moved from a sharp sword slash to a softer stroke that reminds you that you have survived, after all of that, you find yourself going back. After the healing comes the questions. Where were you, God? Where were you? Because I sure didn't see you, and I didn't hear you, and you didn't save me from being hurt. So what do I call this chapter? The chapter with the long nights and the busy days, the chapter of running away from silence for fear of what it might reveal, the chapter of the shouting, screaming, crying, simply wondering over and over and over again, where were you, God? And why? It echoes like a cymbal in my mind until I cannot catch my breath, and I run away before I hear the answer because I fear it. Like a child fears the dark when they don't know that the lights are just up ahead and that nothing is lurking in the stark blackness of their closet. Pause it and listen. Listen to the voice that speaks in the thunder, because he won't leave you to wonder if you are truly alone. You were not alone. I wish I could give you an answer, tied up with a bow and a ribbon to wrap my ramblings into a tight cliché to say, he was there all along. He was there, don't get me wrong, but I think that each of us has to find out for ourselves, with ourselves, in ourselves, where God was that day, that night. As for me, of course, I know now that he was there, and that he held my hand and whispered in my soul and told me that I am his no matter how far I may roam. I will never fall too far, be too scarred, too marred to be worthy of his love. So this is me, I think, closing a chapter on silence and fear, ready to move forward with joy, a smile deployed on my face once again. Because I know who I am, and I know who I speak for. My voice is not timid, and I will not be afraid. For fear is only a shadow of pain, and pain has no hold on my past or my future. Hope, like a suture, has closed up that shame. And now I proclaim my gifts, my strengths, my story, my weakness, my service, my life, all that I am in Christ.